Zamfara State Government to engage 70,000 youths in mining activities. Governors to meet over Buhari's order granting financial autonomy to state legislature and judiciary. Passing out ceremony for core members to be low-key nationwide. On business, Brent crude source has $36 as major oil producers sticks to their pledge on oil output cut. And on the international set, Saudi Arabia urges mosques to open for Friday prayers. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. My name is Samira Ibrahim. Now the news in full. No fewer than 70,000 youths are expected to be gainfully employed by both the federal government and the Zamfara State government in mining activities in the state. Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalli made this known in Maradun on Tuesday when members of the State Council of Chiefs paid him Salah homage at his country home in Maradun. Governor Matawalli said the measure was aimed at curbing illegal mining activities which had defied several government orders in the state. The youth in the state will be engaged in proper mining activities on how best to tap the abundant mineral deposits in the state as part of measures to improve the economy of the state and the nation in general. The governor told the traditional rulers that 5,000 youths will be drawn from each of the 14 local government areas of the state who will be engaged in the sector, which will also encourage and guarantee self-reliance among youths in the state. The governor also charged all the 70 members of the council to ensure that all forms of mining activities taking place in their domain were stopped forthwith. He urged them to file and forward a report immediately there was a breach. Alhaji Bello Matawalli, who said the situation was improving, noted that the peace and reconciliation he introduced at the beginning of his administration was still open for bandits to repent and embrace peace. The governor, in a statement by Jamilu Ilyasu, his press secretary, warned that recalcitrant criminals in the bushes would continue to face firepower from the armed forces. He thanked the royal fathers for the visit and appealed to their continuous support to his administration as it strived to meet the yearnings of the people. Earlier, Chairman of the State Council of Chiefs and Emir of Anka, Alhaji Attahir Muhammad Ahmed, said they were at the governor's residence to facilitate with him at the Eid al-Fitr celebration, marking the end of the Ramadan fast. He reiterated the council's continuous cooperation and support to the Matawalli-led administration in the state. The Zamfara State Executive Governor, Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawalli Maradun, has said that his administration will not repatriate any Almajiri from the state and urge all those repatriated from other states to come to Zamfara and be accommodated. The governor made this position known when he received two leading Islamic scholars, Sheikh Abdullahi Dalla, Chief Imam of Sambo, Dan Ashafa Jum'at Mox Gusau, and Sheikh Bello Kanwa to a Salah homage at his country home Maradun. Governor Matawalli also announced the scrapping of the committee he earlier constituted for the repatriation of Almajiri from the state and cancelled the repatriation plan. He said the decision followed a careful study of Almajiri system in the state, which only needs to be integrated into Western education for the purpose of acquiring qualitative education in both Western and Islamic knowledge. He said he cancelled the repatriation idea in order to give the Almajiri a sense of belonging and reduce the stigmatization meted on the Almajiri Islamic teaching and learning in the country. He added that the Almajiri have a right to quality education at all levels of government in the country, Zamfara State inclusive, and his administration is working hard to come up with a reform that will integrate Almajiri system of education into a more attractive and more accepted way, and that he will urge all those repatriated from other states to relocate to Zamfara State. Governor Matawalli also called on the Islamic scholars in the country to promote teaching of justice and unity among their followers for the purpose of having a united Nigeria. The governor added that Islamic scholars are known for teaching justice and unity, which is the guiding principles of any development. Earlier in their separate speeches, Sheikh Abdullah Dalla and Sheikh Bello Kanwa commended the governor for having good listening ears for all positive calls that affect his people, and as well as act immediately, and urged him to maintain it as a bedrock of having positive leadership that will cover everyone, irrespective of his political or religious interests. A wave of apprehensive is sweeping through ministries, departments and agencies (MDAs) as President Muhammadu Buhari begins a probe into the office of the late Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari. The investigation may lead to all appointments and approvals made by Kyari without Buhari's permission being cancelled. This is a pundit said the volte-face by the president in directing a reversal of over 100 decisions by Kyari could create more problems that is trying to solve. Also, a source within the presidential villa suggested that the power bloc that produced the new Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Gambari, might be the force fighting back. Sleep might have already begun eluding many officials and the MDAs on account of contracts okayed without President Muhammadu Buhari's approval. If this is what the president is targeting with a view to shoring up his charging profile, analysts say trouble looms for those who cut illegal deals with the late Chief of Staff. Though no reason was given for the president's action, reports suggested no less than 150 memos that didn't have his authorization may have been uncovered. Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, declined to confirm or refute the report. The attention of the presidency has been drawn to media reports alleging that President Muhammadu Buhari has cancelled a number of memos and appointments signed off by his former Chief of Staff. Not surprisingly, these reports have quoted unnamed sources. There is not a grain of truth in this report, and Nigerians should please ignore the insinuation behind them. President Muhammadu Buhari was duly re-elected by Nigerians in February 2019. He has not and will never cede to anyone else that power and trust given to him by the Nigerian people. Nigeria has recorded 276 new cases of coronavirus. Lagos State has 161, Rivers 36, Edo 27, Kaduna 19, Nasarawa 10, Oyo 6 and Kano 4. Others are Delta 3, Ebonyi 3, Gombe 2, and 1 each in Ogun, Ondo, Borno, Abia and Bauchi states. NCDC reports that 8,344 cases of COVID-19 were recorded in Nigeria, 2,385 discharged, and 249 deaths. The Nigerian Governors Forum will on Wednesday meet to discuss the issues of financial autonomy for the state judiciary and legislature, codenamed the Executive Order 10/2020. A statement issued by Mr. Abdulrazak Bello Barkindo, Head Media and Public Affairs, Nigerian Governors Forum, on Tuesday in Abuja, indicated that the consultation will be the 9th in the series of teleconference meetings held by the governors since the lockdown occasioned by the outbreak of coronavirus. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday signed into law an executive order granting financial autonomy to the legislative and judicial arms across the 36 states of the country. The order also mandated the Accountant General of the Federation to deduct from source amounts due to state legislatures and judiciaries from the monthly allocation of each state for states that refuse to grant such autonomy. According to Bello Barkindo, the meeting, which will take place at 2 p.m., will have in attendance all the 36 state governors via Microsoft Teams from their various states. Among the issues to be reviewed are a number of critical national questions that revolve around the financial autonomy for the state judiciary and legislature, codenamed the Executive Order 10/2020. Nigeria's Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Abubakar Sadiq, has said that the Air Force is loyal to President Muhammadu Buhari. He spoke at Eid al-Fitr lunch organized with troops in the northeast in Yola. The Chief of Air Staff was represented by Air Commando Muhammad Yusuf, Commander 153 Base Services Group Yola. It is unclear why the Air Chief is reassuring President Muhammadu Buhari of NAF loyalty. But Sadiq said this was due to his constant support to the Nigerian Air Forces. He said the launch of Svtv is a tradition being organized by the Nigerian Air Force to facilitate the front air personnel in the Northeast region during festivity. And the Nigerian Air Force is committed to ensuring that the country is safe and people can go to their normal activities. He added that the NAF base in Yola will continue to play a vital role in the fight against insurgency in the Northeast. Air Marshal Sadiq further assured the people of Adamawa in particular and the entire region of the utmost base of the Air Force to protect them from dreaded insurgents and other crimes. The National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) has set the passing out ceremony for the 2019 batch B Stream 2 Corps members nationwide will be low-key due to coronavirus pandemic. It therefore asks Corps members not currently in the state of service not to violate the interstate travel ban because of the May 28th passing out ceremony. It said the Corps members not currently in their state of service will still be able to collect their certificate of national service when the ban on movement is lifted. This was communicated on Monday in a statement signed by its Director, Press and Public Relations Department, Mrs. Adeniki Adeyemi. She said the Certificate of National Service, CNS, shall be issued to qualified Corps members at the local government level to observe a social distance order. She said a full complement of NYSC officers have been mobilized for the distribution. She added that the distribution will take place from 10 service points in each of the local government councils. As a precautionary measure, the distribution shall be staged for a period of 10 days in the first instance in order to remove anxiety from the concerned Corps members, in addition to making the activity seamless and less cumbersome. She advised the Corps members to ensure the strictness observance of discipline, anchored orderliness and adherence to instructions. Governor Nasir El-Rufai has extended the lockdown order in Kaduna State by another 2 weeks. The State Deputy Governor, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, said in a statewide broadcast on Tuesday. News Agency of Nigeria reports that residents of the state have been on lockdown for the past 60 days, and there were calls for ease down of the restrictions to allow poor residents contend with the challenges of zero income and food shortages. The Deputy Governor, however, said the government expects residents to abide by the COVID-19 prevention protocols, otherwise any spike in the cases could force the government to tight restrictions. The Kaduna State government is conscious of the sacrifices that citizens have made and the many challenges that remain in keeping them safe from COVID-19. This is why the state government has adjusted and extended the quarantine orders by the 2 weeks to empower citizens to more steadfastly carry forward the fight against COVID-19. Preservation of the relaxation in this extension required that citizens demonstrate greater compliance with the laid down health protocols, particularly the wearing of face masks outside the house, observance of physical distancing, regular washing of hands with soap and water, and avoidance of large gatherings. Violation of these protocols will compel the government to reimpose restrictions. A spike in COVID-19 infections will also necessitate a tightening of restrictions. President Muhammadu Buhari commiserated with the media industry, particularly Nigerian Union of Journalists and Nigerian Guild of Editors, over the passing of the Saturday editor of New Telegraph, Wahid Bakari. The president sent condolences to the family of the deceased and the management of the New Telegraph newspapers, describing the editor's death as a collective loss to the media and the nation, that he served passionately with his talents. The president prays that God will receive the soul of the departed and comfort all that mourned him. On business, note that crude oil prices are still down by 45% since the beginning of 2020, a situation that had forced oil-dependent Nigeria to readjust her 2020 national budget, as Nairametrics reported. Brent crude gained on Tuesday's London trading session upon clear signs that major oil producers are sticking to commitment to reduce crude supply, even as more automobiles get back on the road following the lifting of COVID-19 lockdown around the world. Brent crude futures gained about 0.7% to trade at $36.25 6:50 a.m. Nigerian time, adding that a 1.1% gain on Monday in teen holiday trading. Commenting on this, Wilson Chenyong, a commodities analyst at VI Investment School, said the following to Bloomberg News from Soil. The market is starting to witness the effect of output cuts along with a reduction in inventories while the global economy is on its path to recovery. Still, there is caution with the absence of a cure for the pandemic as well as the possibility of a second wave of infections. The energy market bullish run was boosted by comments from Russia, which reported that its oil output had nearly plunged to its target of 8.5 million barrels per day for May and June. Nally Hens, a senior commodity strategist at Australia and New Zealand banking group, told CNBC that there's definitely a feeling those cuts have come true as well as you could expect. With economy restarting, the focus definitely is on the improvement in the fundamentals rather than what seems like a complete collapse in demand only a few weeks ago. Meanwhile, Russia's energy minister Alexandra Novak explained that a surge in fuel demand should help reduce the present global surplus of around 7 to 12 million barrels per day by June or July. Still on business news. In the meantime, OPEC wants to keep the existing production output cut beyond the June expiry date as part of efforts to rebalance the market. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Iraq have all reaffirmed their commitment to this effect. With the uncertainty that still prevails in the global oil market due to the prevailing coronavirus pandemic, analysts have been coming up with different forecasts on the future of the market. The latest forecast is that the market will most likely recover by July 2020. Crude oil prices and oil demand plunged over the past few months as a result of the pandemic. However, with the lifting of global lockdowns and gradual reopening of global economies, oil prices are expected to rebound. And on the international scene, the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Saudi Arabia has issued a directive that mosques are to reopen for Friday prayers this week. According to the ministry, in a circular it issued stressing that as the kingdom relaxes measures to stop the spread of COVID-19, mosques will be open to the public for the weekly prayers from May 31st until June 20th, except in Mecca. The circular, which was issued by mosque staff by Sheikh Abdul Latif bin Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahman Al-Sheikh, the Islamic Affairs Minister, stated that windows and doors must always be opened. He said worshippers must keep 2 meters apart and leave a row of space empty between each row. They must also wear face masks at all times, bring in their own prayer mats and perform ablution at home. Imam must ensure worshippers avoid crowding when entering and exiting the mosques, and children under 15 are not allowed to enter. Water coolers and the distribution of food and drinks are not permitted, as well as incense and miswak, which is used to clean teeth. Mosques must also close all toilets and places of ablution. The ministry added that the Hajj and Umrah pilgrimages, which attract millions of travelers from around the world, will remain suspended until further notice. Still on the international scene, Nepal has been under lockdown to contain the spread of coronavirus disease since March 24th. A total of 875 people have committed suicide during the lockdown period in Nepal. According to the data compiled by the Nepal police, the suicide cases across the country increased by 16% in the first month of the lockdown. A total of 482 suicide cases were filed during mid-March to mid-April in police stations across the country, against 4,014 cases from the period between mid-February and mid-March. The data suggests that the number during the lockdown is considerably high, as 38 people committed suicide in the Kathmandu Valley alone. The highest number, 742, died by hanging themselves, followed by 114 people who committed suicide by consuming poison. The disease has used burning, stabbing, drowning, jumping from heights, as major ways of attempting suicide during the period under review. The suicide cases have been recovered as of May 16th, said Miraj Bahadur Shahi, spokesperson of Nepal police, adding that the police were updating the data of suicide cases after that. Many psychiatrists have linked the deaths with the mental health of the people who have been forced to stay indoors during the lockdown. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara state government to engage 70,000 youths in mining activities. Governors to meet over Buhari's order granting financial autonomy to state legislature and judiciary. Passing out ceremony for core members to be low-key nationwide. On business, Brent crude source has $36 as major oil producers sticks to their pledge on oil output cut. And on the international set, Saudi Arabia urges mosques to open for Friday prayers. That's the news on behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatuno. I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.